E. Cummings, also known as Edward Estlin Cummings, was an American poet, painter, and writer born on October 14, 1894. He was one of the key figures of the modernist movement and known for his innovative use of language, typography, and syntax. Cummings' poetry is often characterized by its playfulness, wit, and experimentation with form. He was an outspoken pacifist and was briefly imprisoned during World War II for his views on the war. He often wrote about love, nature, and the human experience. One of his famous works, I Carry Your Heart With Me, speaks about the eternal bond of love. Another famous work, Somewhere I Have Never Traveled Gladly Beyond, speaks about the beauty and mystery of life. Finally, next to Of Course God America I criticizes the blind patriotism of America.
Somewhere I have never gladly traveled beyond. A most prestigious poem of the modern era was published in 1931 in a collection of poetry called Viva. It was published in a phase of great depression which was impacting every aspect of life including art and many others. It was published in a very well-known literary and artistic movement known as modernism. It also reflects the reformation and rejections of traditional conventions of arts and style. This poem covers the very beautiful themes such as the transformative power of love, the vulnerability. Ultimately, the poem celebrates the mysterious, transformative power of love and the sense of joyful discovery that comes with it. Undoubtedly, E. Cummings was a master of using literary devices in most of his poems. By using different literary devices in different styles, he had made us realize that he was the master of his own style. Imagery, metaphor, personification, and alliterations are used in such a beautiful style that it captured the attention of a reader.
After World War I, America experienced a period of intense patriotism and nationalism. But for Cummings, blind patriotism was dangerous because he was a pacifist who opposed war and nationalism. In his poem, Next to Of Course God America I, Cummings critiques the worship of national symbols and the blind devotion to one's country. Next to Of Course God America I explores the themes of nationalism, power, and war. Nationalism for Cummings was dangerous because it could become a kind of religion, causing people to ignore or even participate in injustice oppression. Secondly, the poem also critiques the abuse of power by people who are in authority. The poem suggests that politicians and the military often act in their own self-interest rather than in the best interest of the people they are supposed to serve. Finally, the poem alludes the idea of war and how it is glorified and romanticized in American culture. Next to Of Course God, America I involves the use of personification and metaphor. Through the use of metaphor and personification, Cummings creates a powerful critique of blind patriotism and the worship of national symbols. The poem uses metaphor to compare America to deity, suggesting that blind patriotism has turned the country into a kind of religion. For example, in the first line, he writes, Next to Of Course God America I. Similarly, Cummings uses personification to give human-like qualities to America. For example, in third stanza he writes, Your sons acclaim your glorious name by glory, implying that America has children who worship and praise it. Overall, Next to Of Course God America I reminds us that true patriotism requires a critical examination of our country and an acknowledgement of its flaws and shortcomings, rather than blind devotion to its symbols and slogans.
I Carry Your Heart With Me, a romantic poem published in 1952. as a part of a collection of poetry. It was a poem which was published in the post-World War I era in the United States. This poem experienced the significant economical growth and social changes. The post-World War was a period which witnesses the rise of the middle class, as well as the increased opportunity for education and upward mobility. Different and beautiful themes are depicted by the E. Cummings in this poem. Love is the central theme of this poem. He had shown a very deep and abiding love for all his loved ones. He says that a love is a constant and enduring phase that provides meaning to your life and brings stability. He also emphasizes the depth of his emotional connectivity with his loved one. Love, devotion, transcendence of physical and social boundaries are also emphasized in this poem. E. Cummings used different literary devices so that he could give an emphasis to his beloved beauty. Repetition. The phrases "I carry your heart with me" is seen repeated several times throughout the poem, and the repetition of this phrase describes the depth of the speaker's love for his beloved. Metaphor. The speaker uses metaphors in order to describe that how much love he held for his beloved. For example, he described that he loved as the root of the root and the bird of the bird. Next, the imagery. Different imagery had been derived by the poet in order to describe his beloved. For example, a secret moon and a blossom. All of these imageries are derived by the reader in order to glorify the beauty of his beloved.